All right, guys, welcome back. Once again, 2018 Ford Powerstroke 6767 F350. So I've got about 15,000 miles on my Delete kit and some other items I did, and I wanted to give just kind of an honest review. I went through, the bulk of my kit is through Elite Diesels, and I'm not sponsoring them. They're not sponsoring me. I'm not representing them. I just want to give my experience because I actually really enjoyed this kit, and we'll go over that. There's a lot of options on their website to pick how far you want to go into it, what options you want to pick. So that's all just really up to you, but I'll go over what I did. So on the 17 and 19, I know it's a little different on the newer ones for sure. The battery normally sits here and the intake over here. They do offer the S&B intake option, which I did, which reroutes it. So now instead of the intake being here with the tube going under the battery and coming out here, it swaps these two. So yes, I went with that. EGR Delete, GDP, very nice EGR Delete kit. They do make options. I don't know if Elite Diesels does, but I know they make options where you can just cap everything off and leave the cooler if you wanted, but I wanted to get all that junk out of here, clean it up. Love the way it turned out. There's multiple options with this too. Man, I'm getting dusty. There's the one with just the cap off plate, and then the one with the pass-through plate, which is this second plate here, if you could see. So what that does is normally the coolant goes in the EGR cooler, around and then back. I don't remember which direction, but either way, well, when you use just the single one, which they do make a kit like that, and a lot of people like them, the coolant then just deadheads at both of these locations. Well, this coolant plate allows the coolant to go through here just like it did when it used to go through the EGR cooler. So I went with that choice. Comes with a cap off plate here. Really a pain to do, but not at the fault of GDP or Elite Diesel. It's at the fault of Ford. They make it almost impossible to get to all this. One of these bolts snapped off on the EGR pipe, which is very, very common. It's a stainless steel bolt, and drilling it out was terrible, even with a right angle drill. So be very careful with that. I'd recommend watching some videos on removing those, penetrating oil, all kinds of tips, but we won't go into that now. So along with this kit, obviously you're wanting to delete your DEF and DPF. That's normally the main reason for most of this, which deletes everything from here all the way up under there. I went with the cheaper aluminized pipe. They do make a stainless steel option. It's up to you if you want to spend that money. When you remove this, it's 110 pounds. I know because I did it myself. You'll have about 14 connectors just under here you disconnect. And on a side note, I did go to eBay, and it wasn't very expensive, and found this kit that comes with these plugs for every harness that you remove when you do this. That way you're not getting dust, dirt, debris. So I put dielectric grease in there, cap these off, so I don't have to worry about any road debris. So exhaust, they do make multiple exhaust options as well. I kept my factory from the tip to that pipe I just showed you with the factory little over the actual muffler here. I did that because where I'm at, they don't overly care. And on a side note, Elite Diesels does say this is for off-road only. So, you know, do it at your own risk. But where I'm at, they don't overly care. But I wanted, in case I travel and different things, for it not to be obvious that I had deleted. So that's why I went with that. Deleted all the piping to the DEF tank. And when it comes to that, there's an anti-siphon in here. So I decided to leave my tank. You can remove it, but just to drain it. So there's an anti-siphon in here. So what I had to do was go under there and pull the sending unit and just let it all drop off. Be careful or you'll get soaking wet. But you've got to go under there anyway to disconnect the harness and unplug the lines if you're deleting the lines. On that, or at least with the tune I have, wherever your DEF level is at when you install your tune, that's what it'll show in your DEF forever. So I had like 3/4 of a tank or somewhere in there. I'll show you in a minute. And that's what my dash shows I have, even though there's nothing in the tank. So just keep that in mind. So I would run the tune, then run the tank. But that's just me. And actually, I think Elite Diesels tells you to run the tune before you even delete anything. So 15,000 miles later, I don't have any error or trouble codes other than one for a headlight, which is not related. So let's show you guys how this kind of, I went with, well, let me go into that first. So some people are going to cringe, but yes, I went with the shift on the fly switch. I almost never use it. If I'm doing work around the property, pulling a stump or something, I may go for the extra horsepower and torque, but I leave it. But I wanted to have the option instead of not having it. And then I went with the Easy Link tuner. The Easy Link you can leave plugged in, or like I do, or you can remove it once you run the tune. That's really up to you. Let me see if I can pull the app up here. Let me turn it on. Oops. Well, hold on. See if I can. Bear with me for a second here. While I'm doing that, I'll show you. No trouble live. Let me show you. Where's it at? Oh, there we go. Diesel exhaust fluid. So like I said, it says it's okay. And then if you were to add that gauge up here, which I don't have up there, it would show you, like mine says like 3/4. So even though there's no def in it, it thinks it's fine. All right, still trying to, let me, so the Easy Link is Wi-Fi. And we'll connect to it now. And it should just come up as Easy Link and then whatever your code is at the end of it. So now we're connected. You just open up the Easy Link app. Oh, this needs a firmware update. Of course it did. Of course it does. Well, guess I'll have to come back to that then. All right, well, that's doing that. You know, firmware updates always happen when you don't need them to. I'll show you some other things I did unrelated or related, but not to that kit specifically, that I upgraded while I was doing it. One, so these cold side pipes are known, these crappy Ford ones are known to blow out. So I found this company, Smedding Diesel. There's some other companies that make them, cold side pipe. But what I like about theirs is theirs also comes with a butterfly delete option, or a throttle valve delete, whatever you want to call it. Because when you delete it, you no longer need that anymore, but it's still sitting there and it's just stuck in the open position for no reason other than a hunk of metal sitting there when you do this delete. So I went with this kit, deletes the butterfly and this nice silicone reinforced cold side tube. While I was ordering, these are also known to blow out. So this very nice silicone upper radiator hose with the billet aluminum connections. And then the hot side pipes, the really only failure part of that, because it has a metal tube, is the boots. No Limit Fabrication, which I think everyone knows who that is. High quality boots there, so I went with just the boot replacements. Also, while I was doing it, I didn't have the money for a DCR conversion, but I went ahead and did the S&S Diesel Motorsports disaster prevention kit. This is the best one on the market. Really quality. Install of it itself wasn't too bad, other than just removing this intake. And then while I was doing it, I also did the H&S Motorsports spin-on upper fuel filter, get rid of that crappy plastic one. But anywho, the only other thing I really would like to do under here, I'm not going to go too much farther, is these hoses. Once you delete the EGR cooler, got all these clamps, they look kind of terrible. No Limit makes a silicone one that kind of reroutes this to clean it up, and it's just a lot better quality. All right, well, let's hop back in here, see if this firmware update is done. Oh, there we go, and it tells you, let's go. So this is what I leave mine on most times, sticking in my little holder here. And there are so many different choices of what gauges you want to display. I mean, it is insane. You can pick pretty much anything you want. So that's just a few of them. Here are other options here. Sorry, it's hard to do this with one hand. You can just like a tuner or a scanner, you can run codes. I do have one for a short and a headlight. I've had it for a while. I think it's the LED lights, so I know that's there. But other than that, no codes. And then chat. I had some questions about mine. They're very quick to respond with technical advice and questions. You can chat right through the app. They can send you different tunes, all kinds of things. They say they're only open Monday to Friday, but honestly, they were great about answering most of the time. But vehicle, there goes your main thing. You got your ECU profiles, and this will show you what you last did. So that's my ECM, and I did pay extra for the transmission tunes, and I'm running you click on it, it'll tell you increase line pressure and medium firm shift points. Like it a lot better. That way it don't hit as hard when it shifts. I do have the 6-speed, not the 10-speed, but I still want to protect my transmission as much as possible. And then you can click on custom tunes, and it gives you all the tunes that you have available to you. There's all your transmission tunes. You could pay for one time, which is 4 weeks, to do whatever you want, or lifetime, because I didn't know what all I was going to change or do. You also get the option that's send it back to factory. Other cool things is this Easy Link offers lots of other functions. For instance, I went with bigger tires. You can change that. When I'm not running heavy, which I'm not most of the time, I don't like running 80 pounds of pressure, so I'll drop to 60, 65, and I can adjust the settings so I don't get a TPMS warning. So lots of cool functions, and overly just really happy with everything it did. So the tune I went with a rumble tune, not a whistle tune, and that's all personal preference. It has nothing to do with performance, and it has nothing to do with anything once you're not idling. It only has to do with that idle. Do you want that whistle sound or that rumble sound? It just, you know, tells the turbo vane to be open or not open. So we'll cold start it, let you listen to it, and then that'll about wrap it up. That's the rumble tune. It definitely sounds better, but not overbearing. If I turn that switch up though, I can blow some coal pretty hard, shoot some black smoke, so I try not to. Like, I think it get like the tune I've got gives an extra like 200 and something horsepower and like 400 something pounds of torque if you go all the way up. But like I said, I almost never do that unless I'm doing like farm work. So yeah, overly happy. I'm happy with Elite Diesels. I'm happy with all the other brands I showed you. I'm happy. It was a pain. It was terrible by myself. If you've got a partner in the lift, it'd probably be a lot easier. Or if you have the ability to pull the cab, if you're gonna do it. But I would recommend, if you wanna do any of that stuff, do it all at once. Oh, and one other thing I did do, and I forgot to show you, is I did a CCV reroute. So now I don't have that problemsome CCV box. Let me actually show you that again. Let me unlock this here. So now, and you may not get away with it someplace you live. Mine, I don't know if you can see it currently, but somewhere back here, you'll see a little puff of smoke. Mine dumps off back here now instead of recirculating. So under here, what used to be all that space under there, you can see the cap there. Now you see that with a line. Now that doesn't reroute and go back in where this black plug is. You don't have that big box that clogs up and causes oil pressure leaks. Mine just dumps out. They also make optional catch cans for that, different options, but I would recommend doing everything all at once. So that's what I did. Got any questions, comments, give me a shout. Like I said, I did it all myself here in the driveway in the gravel, so I can walk you through anything you need or give advice or direct you in the right direction if I don't know. So thank you guys again for looking. Bye.